So today's a cheery topic. Bad grades. They suck. I'm sorry if this is why you're here. And there's not really anything that I can do to change what happened. They happen. Know that one failure does not mean that you are doomed to a life of eternal despair. The first step to getting over a bad grade is to let yourself be sad. It's disappointing. There's no other way to say it. And it's okay to be sad. Sad means that you care. I would personally be very concerned if you worked that hard and didn't care. So let yourself feel all those feels and be okay with it. If you don't let yourself go there, you're just gonna explode later. And that doesn't help anyone. So have a lazy night. Eat all the ice cream, chips, and pizza you need and go through a box of Kleenex, whatever feels right, and don't try to hold anything in. Just for today, though, the whole point is to let yourself feel all the feels and go through that whole process so that way you can move forward with purpose after. After a little bit of grieving time, you should be ready to look at things a bit more objectively and see what went wrong. Yes, marks are the way the school system judges you, but they're not an accurate representation of what you actually did, and sometimes even what you know. So it's not the way that you should judge yourself. Don't judge yourself for something that's out of your control. Sometimes it's just luck or the way they asked you a question that's the complete determiner between whether you succeed or not. So how do you deal with that? If you know you dedicated a solid amount of time to learning the material and you're ahead of where you started, you're winning. You might not have won first place on the test, but you're winning at life, and that's what kind of really matters. You know more things than when you started. If you worked hard, be proud of what you did. No number can take that away from you. If you get the opportunity to redo something on account of this mark, take it as that. It's an opportunity. As much as moving on sounds like an accomplishment, it's not the only way to be accomplished. There's no point in moving forward on an unsteady base. Once you've learned something once, you're going to remember a few things. Whether or not you were successful the first time you learned it, you will still most likely start it again knowing more than you did last time. This means that it will be easier the second time. You'll be able to understand it way better, and you'll be way more prepared for the next level of whatever you're learning. If you don't get a chance to repeat something and are just stuck with an ugly number on a piece of paper, that's okay too. It just might take a little bit of work to figure out what you should do differently next time. Should you study in a different way? Should you focus on different things? Should you find some extra help to make sure you don't move ahead too quickly? If good grades are something you care about, and if you're watching this video, I'm kind of assuming you do, as long as you know that you put in a solid study effort, this might be your time to get help. Don't judge your methods and your brain. Not everything comes naturally to everyone, and you really don't know what type of problem you have or even how simple or complex it is unless you get some help. Very often, it's just a matter of the material not being presented in a way that your brain loves, and it has no indication whatsoever of whether or not you can learn something. Sometimes low marks are just a fact of life. What do you need those marks for anyways? Okay, can you do that without the highest marks in your class? In almost every instance, the answer to that is probably. Marks don't really count for much in the real world. Really and truly, grades are just a number that the education system made up to see how well they're doing. It helps them measure progression in groups of students, and it helps them make sure that the educators are teaching each student the same thing. They don't really mean that much for you. They have somehow made it seem like a competition. And yes, many post-secondary schools and scholarships are very competitive in that aspect. But the competition isn't really the point of the education system. The point is to learn, not to get 100%. So if you've learned something, you've done your job. 10 years from now, unless you are going into a career where you will specifically use this information all the time, half of what you are learning right now will be gone forever. It's not useless though, because you were learning how to learn in the process. You are expanding your mind and you're learning more about the world as a whole. All of that's important, but not the specifics. The process of learning is the most important lesson that you will learn in school. Because if you know how to learn, you can teach yourself any skills that you need. If a bad grade legitimately means the end of the road for something, it sounds really cliche, but try to think of it as a bend in the road and not the end. I can guarantee you this will not be the only unplanned bend in the road. But the thing is, you don't know what kind of brilliance might be on the other side. The road you thought you wanted might have actually been someone else's road and not yours. I get it though. It's easier to see the roadmap to success in other people's lives. And when you see other people do it, you think that that's the right thing for you too. But what worked for them is never the only way to succeed. And who knows what your path is? You might have something better and brighter on the other side. Okay, brain, I'm sorry this one isn't as cheery as normal, but go for it. If you'd like to support this channel, don't forget to subscribe and check out my Ko-fi link below. I also have a blog and Instagram if you'd like to double make sure you never miss a thing. If you want more study tips, I have lots of other videos. This one's my favorite though, which you probably don't need because it's all about last-minute study tips for anyone who's trying to cram, which obviously is not you.